So if you're a young adult or in your early 20s like me, I think one advice that I took that have really catapulted my life pretty decent in my early adulthood is to take a lot of risk. I think in school and whatnot, you learn to be risk averse. Like they tell you to get good grades in high school to go to college, and then once you get to college, you get the job and you get 3% raises, annually and whatnot. And people thought that, or people said they didn't think that. They said that this was a stable way of living, and this is how we should all dream to obtain. And I do apologize today, my voice, I'm losing it a little bit. I've been maybe doing a lot of talking recently, but yes, taking a lot of risk. And you don't want to take any like straight gambles. You don't want to, you don't want to be taking unlikely bets. You want to take likely bets that pay well. One of the quotes I remember from when I was growing up was when Mark Zuckerberg said that the biggest risk was taking no risk at all. And I think what this kind of ties into is the idea of asymmetrical upsides. And I've made the video about this before, but essentially the downsides of failure is so small compared to the upsides of success, right? So imagine you start a company or you create an app or you start posting content and you blow up and you make life-changing money. That's the upsides, right? But the downside is you fail and you learn and you start again, right? And the downsides are not like permanent. It's not a zero-sum game where if you don't succeed immediately, you fail forever. You can just restart, you take what you learn and move on. Every video that I post, I feel like I'm more comfortable talking to the camera. Right now, I'm also creating like apps and Instagram content. I'm doing a bunch of things while keeping my job as well, and they're all risky, right? None of these things may or may not pay off, and I don't expect it to. And that's kind of a being like stoic. Maybe I'll make a video on that, but I'm. It's not that I'm indifferent. I genuinely want to succeed really bad, and that's why I'm working so hard. But in a way, I'm okay with the outcomes regardless of how they come, right? And that's kind of the mentality you earn by being comfortable taking risk. One thing I always ask a lot of my friends is when they're like in all aspects of my life before college, when I was at college, since I graduated. One thing I always ask my friends is, do you really like see yourself doing this particular role for the rest of your life? Right now I'm in sales, and I can't see myself selling for someone for the rest of my life, let alone a year from now. I want to have my own things. That's just who I am, right? Maybe you're not that way. Maybe if someone pays you well enough, you're okay. Because my job pays me about $200,000 a year. So maybe for someone that's enough and they'll settle right here, but it's not for me. And I'm willing to take the risk to go to the next stage in life. And eventually you'll know when to stop, and maybe I'll know when to stop. But to get to that next step, to get to where I'm at right now, I had to take risk. I graduated with computer science background, and that's what I'm using now to catapult myself to the next level of career. But when I graduated, the job offerings was kind of tight. I graduated 2022, or graduated per se, and actually 2024, excuse me. And the job market was kind of tight, so I ended up being in sales. I was working in car sales. Now I'm a manager, but so it was just not a good time to be looking for jobs, and this job was paying me multiple six figures, so I just stuck around. But now I'm just tired of doing that kind of role. In the same way I risked, not really knowing what to do after I finished school, and went on to sales, and I was successful. That's the same way I see I'm going to move on to the next thing. And it's all about risk. I think a lot of people see the amount of money you make in certain fields, like where I'm at right now, and they just can't understand why I won't settle at this particular stage, right? I think mentally you just know when it's not enough. And I'm not like money greedy or anything like that, but I want a certain lifestyle, and for me to have that certain lifestyle, I need to make more money, more than $200,000. And I don't think that's greedy or any sort of malicious thing. I think it's just getting what I think I deserve, and I don't even think there's anything wrong with that. And once you start thinking like that, you'll take more risk, and hopefully you find success. Thank you.